happening, DC fans? Welcome back to the channel. I am DL here with a series review. Today we are talking about the new streaming show that's been airing on Max, part of the Matt Reeves Batman universe. What are they calling it now? The epic crime saga. I think that's what they're calling it now. But today we're talking about the critically acclaimed The Penguin, starring Colin Farrell once again playing the title character. Once again, I know I'm so late getting my thoughts on this show. I'm sorry. A lot's been going on with my life between moving and getting engaged recently, so I've been dealing with a lot with my life. So hopefully these next few months things will slow down a little bit, so I'll be able to post more reviews out there and all that great stuff for you, get you some more live streams here and there. But that's what we're doing. So let's not waste any more time. Let us get into The Penguin. So, if you guys have been following my channel, I have talked about the Matt Reeves Batman film, starring Robert Pattinson. Um, I enjoy that film. I do want to make that very clear to people that I do enjoy Matt Reeves' Batman. I did think it was a good movie. It was very well made. Um, Matt Reeves did a good job directing that film. It's a little too long for my taste, but I thought it was good. But as of late, um, I started to I started to take a turn as far as my opinion on Matt Reeves' Batman universe. And I've talked about this before on my channel that I'm starting to become less and less fond of the what interpretations they're doing with Batman over the past few years. What I mean by that is they're either doing the beginnings of Batman where he's starting out, and it also having to be grounded, realistic, and dark, and all that other stuff, right? We've been having that version of Batman for so many years that, now that we're getting this comic booky, mystical, supernatural, science fiction DC universe helmed by James Gunn, where he announced that we're getting a different version of Batman for that universe that's going to lean more into the comic booky roots and supernatural roots that Batman had from the comics. And also reintroducing the Bat family on the big screen. I personally am more excited for that. Um, and so it just left me in this conundrum that like we have to deal with these two different Batman, and then the tribalism starts happening with and there's some people that even want Robert Pattinson's Batman to be in James Gunn's DCU, and I personally don't want that. I want them to do a completely new Batman that's embracing more the comic book roots. I don't feel like Robert Pattinson's Batman is doing that, but I don't want to get into a tangent about that because we're talking about the Penguin. But just to tell you what my mindset is as far as that. But regardless of that, when it came to the first Matt Reeves Batman movie, it was obviously very successful and everybody, loved it. It did really well at the box office. Um, and one of the standouts of that movie was Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I thought he did an excellent job as the Penguin. I thought he did a complete transformation into that character. I did not see Colin Farrell in that performance at all, and the makeup for him was really, really good. It didn't look anything like Colin Farrell either. So I thought he was definitely a standout of that movie. I wish there was more of him in the film, but the little that we got, I thought he did really good. So when they decided that they wanted to make a spin-off show of his, I was like, okay, that might be interesting. Once again, it's not something that I was clamoring to see, but I think there could be some good things they could do with this show, especially because I said that wasn't like he wasn't in the movie that much, so this probably would be a good way of fleshing out his character. So around that time, that's when they announced that they were going to have this like epic crime saga universe, which is going to be its own pocket universe for Matt Reeves Batman. And I'm not I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest, because I really feel like if they're going to put all their resources in creating a pocket universe for Matt Reeves' Batman, I wish that they would do the same for the DCU's Batman. Because then, once again, if you're going to flesh out this world and with all the different rogues gallery, isn't that going to cause conflict with the rogues gallery that James Gunn wants to use in his universe? But I digress. Um, but still, I was open to seeing the show. It's not something that I'm super excited about seeing because I'll be honest, I'm in DCU mode right now. So I'm, like I said, I'm more invested in seeing that version of Batman than this version. But I'm sure whatever they're going to do is very well written. And for the most part, when it comes to shows on Max, they've been knocking it out of the park for a lot of them. And I'm sure Colin Farrell is going to do a really good job. So I'm interested to see his performance as well. Seeing the marketing for the show, it looked really good. It looked very consistent with the movie as far as quality and how the show looks and the tone. So it looked like it was just going to fall in line with what people loved about Matt Reeves' Batman from the beginning. So it was interesting to see where they're going to go from here. And I've heard from a lot of people that this was one of the best comic book shows that they've ever seen. This is probably one of the best shows they've seen last year. I heard a lot of praise for it. It's like in the 90s on Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody's just been going crazy for the show. That it feels a lot like The Sopranos or one of those really cool crime drama shows, which is something that I expected. I was a little taken back with how much acclaim that it was getting. I didn't expect for it to be that much. I think there's even some people that say that they like this more than the movie, which I think I was shocked about that too. But even still, I was open, still looking forward to seeing how it was going to go. And I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was solid. Yeah, I'm not in love with it like everyone else is. It's not a bad show at all, but yeah, it's like it's good. It's good. There's definitely some really interesting stuff going on with the show, and as far as the performances and the dynamics and the story with the crime stuff or whatever, it's well done. I think it's just for me personally, this when it comes to crime shows, they're not my cup of tea personally. So when I say that I don't love the show, it's not because I think it's badly made or I think it's badly written. It's just that these type of shows don't personally appeal to me. What I will say though is if you love Matt Reeves Batman, you will definitely love this show. I don't see you not enjoying this show. Especially if you wanted more from Colin Farrell's Penguin, you definitely get it here. If you do enjoy crime shows, like you like the CSIs and the Law and Orders and stuff like that, this definitely has similar vibes with that. You like the Sopranos, whatever. It definitely has all those vibes, and I definitely see fans of the movie enjoying what they did with here. And I do think that one of the biggest praises I can give this show is that they definitely elevated Penguin as a character. While I did enjoy him in Matt Reeves' Batman, there's not too much to get from him as a character because they don't focus on him that much. He feels like like a side quest at times. But to see him actually to see him actually uh, get into the roots of him trying to take over the crime syndicates in Gotham and him taking over the drug cartels and stuff like that. I did find that very fascinating. I thought that was very interesting. And what I also kind of appreciated about it is that while we are following a bunch of criminals and a bunch of crime lords and stuff like that, there's not really a black and white as far as who is good and who is bad. Because one of the things I do appreciate, because we do follow the story between Oswald trying to take over the drug producing after the death of Carmine Falcone in the movie, and then there's also this thing with her daughter Sophia Falcone, and then there's this other thing going on with Salvatore Maroni. So it's like a three-way like three different crime lords trying to take over everything in Gotham, and all three of them have their own personal motivations of why they're doing what they're doing. Not one person is like feels like they're more evil than the other. All of them have their own motivations, have their own drive, have their own reasons of doing what they're doing. And there's some points where with all three characters you understand with certain aspects of why they go about the stuff that they're doing. All of them are going through trauma. All of them have been faced with betrayal. All of them have been double crossed. All of them have been, you know, been treated like crap mostly. But at the same time, they equally have done horrible stuff to other people, have caused trauma to other people, have double crossed other people, and so it's like a three-way dance to see like who is more justified than the other, and there's not really a clear answer to that. There's this like moral gray area there, and so I thought all that was very, very interesting. One of the things I liked the most about Penguin in this show, this did feel like a movie a little bit, like a long extended movie, because I said the quality of the show is really good. It feels a lot like the movie, the Batman. But what I really liked about Oswald the most is that we got to see a little bit more vulnerability as far as this character. Not so much so where we don't take him seriously as a threat, but actually being able to see a little bit more humanity with him and not just fully seeing him as a straight up Batman villain. There's more to his character than there was in the movie for sure. And just the simple things of like he has a mother in the show that that's sickly and trying to take care of, and we see a little bit of the flashbacks of when he was a kid growing up with his mother and stuff like that, and his brother and stuff like that, and that actually helped to ground Penguin as a character a little bit more. It gives him something compelling to fight for, not just taking over the whole drug producing and stuff like that, because that's typical crime drama stuff. But this actually helped to make him more of a, I would say, sympathetic character, but you understand the methods of why he does what he does. Probably, I think the person other than Colin Farrell that does the best performance in this show is Christine Milioti as Sophia Falcone. She was insane. Um, she was absolutely nuts. She was probably the most intimidating thing about this show. But once again, it's like when you see her, going through the stuff that she goes through in the show, once again, you understand why she feels the way she feels, or she thinks the way she thinks, or does the stuff that she does, because of the good amount of trauma that she had to deal with after the death of her father, and then having to be thrown into Arkham Asylum because of betrayal in the family, and also at the same time with all of her family members getting murdered by other crime lords. I'm trying to dance around certain spoilers in case people haven't seen it, but yeah, I just found not only was she just a tragic character, but at the same time, it's like she meant business. Like whenever she was on screen, she had those crazy eyes too, like those psychotic crazy eyes, like that. It gives me chills, man. Like she commanded every scene that she was in, and I thought she was absolutely great. And then of course, DC legend Clancy Brown, who did voice acting for many things in DC. Obviously, the most popular thing was voicing Lex Luthor in Superman the Animated Series. It's great to see him again, and once again, he's great, having his own personal motivations with him getting locked up because of betrayal from other crime lords, and even some betrayals from the Falcone family, and even some stuff for the Penguin as well. So, all that stuff, I thought the different layers of that was very interesting. Now, probably the most sympathetic character of this entire show is Victor. Um, I'm glad that a character like Victor was in this show, because when you're following a lot of horrible people in the show, and while they do give us some slight hints of like some vulnerability from the main crime lords that we follow, he was just a regular guy. Victor was just a person that was, brought in at the wrong place in the wrong time, and and he was forced to work with the Penguin and do other stuff. But at the same time, you felt like he was there to help center Penguin, and like while he is doing these stuff for the Penguin, he's still trying to do the right thing. He's not trying to be a horrible person. He's just trying to pay his dues and stay alive the best he can. And I also like the element that he stuttered when he talked, so that made him a little bit more of a vulnerable character. So I thought the dynamic that he had with Penguin, I thought was really really good. But yeah, it's like I said, the visuals in here looked really good. It looked like movie quality. This is something that I expect from Max shows recently. That the when it comes to how a show looks and how it feels, it definitely falls in line with the movies. This show is actually really brutal too. This is like, what is this? Is this TVMA? I think it is, because there is some blood, there's some brutal violence in here. Obviously, there's drug use. There's some sexual content here and there. So this felt like an adult show. Like, it wasn't trying to be family friendly. It didn't care that it was part of the Batman universe. They actually wanted to be more adult for this type of storytelling they want to do in the Matt Reeves Batman universe, and I definitely appreciated that. Because I think it would have been very difficult to tell this type of story with it being like PG-13 or family friendly, because it's in the Batman universe, so it has to be family friendly. No, it didn't. It was like a lot of there was cursing, as I said, and there's a bunch of other stuff. Like, so I thought that was really good. If this wasn't part of the Batman universe, I do think this would have done well on its own. Like, if it was a show by itself, I still think it would have been really, really good. And the one thing I did appreciate, that you don't necessarily have to watch Matt Reeves the Batman in order to understand what was going on, because they do a solid job bringing you up to speed about what happened in the movie or the important stuff that would factor into the show. So that's a good thing. And then another thing I wasn't thinking about, Robert Pattinson's Batman. Because I know there's certain people that were speculating that he might make a cameo in this or an appearance, and he didn't show up in the show at all. So I'm just gonna lay that out there for people that haven't seen it. If you guys are expecting Batman to show up, he doesn't. But I didn't miss him in the show. I wasn't thinking about it the entire time, and that's actually a good thing, because the storytelling this was good enough where it's like I didn't need Batman to show up here and there. There were a couple of things in the show where it's like I would feel like if they did want Batman in there, that probably would have been a justifiable moment. I'm not going to spoil what happens in there, but like, yeah, there probably was a couple of moments where Batman could have showed up, but it didn't need to show up, because like this is like literally in the most grimy part of Gotham, like in the ghettos, whatever it is. Like, I like that this was a very secluded part of Gotham that we haven't really explored that much into when it comes to live action interpretations. So that stuff is really cool. But yeah, one other thing that kind of annoyed me, though, once again, going back to this is the realistic grounded take of Batman again. They're afraid to call Penguin Oswald Cobblepot. They have to call him Cobb. That last name was Cobb. I'm like, that's the type of annoying stuff that, like, that's why I want a different version of Batman for the DCU, because if we're not even confident to say Oswald's full last name, like, what are we doing here? Seriously. But what I will say, though, is that while I personally don't want Matt Reeves Batman in the DCU, I will say that with certain characters like Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, and especially Colin Farrell as Penguin, I definitely see their versions working really well in the DCU. And so that's one other challenge I hope that James Gunn's able to overcome. Like, if he did want to incorporate Catwoman and Penguin in his universe, how would they be able to differentiate themselves from what Matt Reeves is doing? But that's probably the only other thing. But and one final thing that I will appreciate, because this show, I think, actually understands this element better than other versions of comic book shows and movies that I've seen recently. Because there's been a lot of movies as of late that have tried to turn the villain into an anti-hero. And it feels clunky and it feels strange and it just feels like it's going against what the character stood for from the beginning. And for those of you who follow my channel, you probably know what I'm referencing. But what I appreciate about this show is that even though we saw vulnerability with the Penguin, that they did not completely compromise the fact that he is a bad guy. He is a villain. Like the movie, I mean, the show does a good job reminding you that this is a horrible person. While we did see some, we did see some vulnerability with this character, while we did see some sympathetic moments with this character, even though there are times where he has some good interactions with other people that aren't as bad as he is, and it actually seems like he's going to come around on certain things and not be as cold-hearted. He once again goes back to doing certain things that reminds us that he should not be trusted. He is a horrible person. He's still a criminal. While he does have this tragic backstory, he cannot be out in the streets because he is still very dangerous. And I wish that other versions of villains, not only in comic book movies, but like movies in general that originally is taking a villain and trying to turn them into sympathetic characters, I wish they would take notes from this show. Because this is how you properly do it without completely abandoning what the character was from the beginning, or while keeping the essence of what the character was from the beginning. This is how you do it. This is how you add layers to a villain, but then still keeping with how the character is. So overall, I will give the Penguin a B. It's pretty good. Like I said, this is not the type of show that's for me as far as crime shows and like Sopranos, stuff like that. Those are the type of shows that I enjoy personally. But I can't not take away from the fact that this is a very well made show. And if you like those type of shows, as I said, you like the crime shows, you like the Law and Orders, you like the Sopranos, and especially if you are a big fan of Matt Reeves' Batman, and you wanted more from Colin Farrell's Penguin, you will not be disappointed with this. I see a lot of people really enjoying this show, and I thought it was good. But was I blown away by it? No. And once again, there's just when it comes to Batman at this point, when it comes to his world, there's just other things that I personally want from Batman that's not this. But I can acknowledge that this version is good, but I want something else from Batman at this point. I want the supernatural. I want the comic booky roots. I want the Bat family. I want crazy monsters like Clayface and Man-Bat, and I want Ra's al Ghul with the Lazarus Pit. I want Bane with Venom being injected to his veins to make him muscular. That's the type of stuff I want from Batman. I want a Batman where it looks like he could be part of the Justice League with Superman and Green Lantern and Flash and Wonder Woman. That's what I want. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the Penguin. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? Is this feel pretty consistent with Matt Reeves' Batman? Do you enjoy Colin Farrell's Penguin? Do you want to see more seasons from this show? Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. But if you guys enjoyed this review, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. But that's all I have for you Batman fans, and I'll catch you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.